Round 3, excuse me, round 3, and we are facing I Would Like to Respond. Normally, Marcus plays High Tide. Today, he is not, from what I hear. I've heard that he's playing some sort of blue-white control deck. So yes, we will be on the play. This is pretty good. What we really need to find off this is another Rite of Flame, a Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, or even another Chrome Mox. So we have a lot of hits. We're going to try it. Okay, so they have a pretty solid hand. Wasteland's a little weird. Teferi, obviously, new Dominaria card. Seeing playing a lot of Modern. He's trying it in Legacy. Forceful on a counterspell. Brainstorm isn't terrible. So, end of turn, we're going to fetch for Volcanic Island and Brainstorm. I know that our opponent has a Wasteland, but we really need to hit our second land drop. Not quite what we needed. But we can still empty. I'd be a little bit shocked if Marcus forcible this. Maybe what we should have done is instead of playing that first, we should have played out all the other things so that way, no matter what, we couldn't have lost to a forcible there. So we would have gone Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox. And if Chrome Mox gets forced, we just play Rite of Flame. So that way it removes any chance that we don't win. And I think we want to imprint the Ponder here. Because we know our opponent has a counterspell and a Wasteland. So next turn we could Burning Wish for something for 3. Assuming that our opponent forcibles a copy. From what I've been told is I don't think our opponent is playing Terminus. So what we're looking to dodge is Supreme Verdict or Engineered Explosives. So this is a situation where I would have liked to have a Cabal Therapy in the sideboard, but it's not a huge deal. So I don't think... Ooh, Terminus. He is in fact playing it. Wow, blowout. That's a little rough. So we went from being a heavy favorite to not at all. Now our opponent has Wasteland Counterspell Forcible, which kind of leaves us in a bad position. So Island isn't really great there. It's in fact the worst land we could have drawn. Like Swamp would have been fine, Badlands or a fetch land would have been nice, because if we draw Badlands there, what we can do is we can just cast Burning Wish for Tendrils. We're just going to hold these. There's no reason to play out lines that I'm in there. Like, you don't gain anything by doing it. So our opponent can cast Teferi next turn, and then untap 2, holding open Counterspell Force. So even a discard spell here doesn't exactly save us. Because they're going to untap 2, we could cast Cabal Therapy or Duress, and they'll still have either Force of Will or Counterspell. Alright, so we're going to hold Badlands, because if we draw Brainstorm, we need something to put back. At this point, drawing Brainstorm is pretty much our only way of coming back into this game. Step 1. Let's see if it resolves. Looks like he's going to use Counterspell. Okay. I imagine at this point that he has another piece of interaction other than the single forcible, but we need to play to our outs. Like, you can't assume that your opponent has extra interaction because they could just be drawing blanks. It's unlikely, but you have to play to what you know. Sure. So that doesn't actually help us win at all. So at this point, our fetch lands are shut off due to the 4 power of Snapcaster Mage. So on our turn, we need to draw a discard spell in order to win, and our opponent has to not have anything. So, yeah, there's just nothing we can do to beat Force there. It happens. We were given bad information in the fact that we were told that our opponent likely didn't have Terminus and then they had it. But even regardless, let's say that we did know that they had it, I still would empty. It's just your best line of beating a Forcible right there. So we're going to board in not Terminus, Tendrils of Agony and Surgical. We're going to board out a Chrome Mox just because in these longer games you don't really need it. And then a Burning Wish. Just waiting on our opponent. Something I didn't consider, but we could have boarded in 2 Chain of Vapor, or even Echoing Truth. The reason is, the last few times I've faced Miracles, they've had effects like Damping Sphere, and I'm not sure if Marcus is playing it, but it would provide us an out. There's also things like Aethersworn Canonist. I'm not saying that our opponent definitely has these, because I have no idea, but it's certainly a possibility. Little ballsy, but I like it. So we have 2 draws for a land. A Dark Ritual just allows us to ad nauseam. I think it's likely fine. Spell Snare. That's a little bit of a spicy one. How lucky, right off the top. Risk versus reward. So if you're able to in these sort of situations, what I like doing is grape shotting, so that way your opponent doesn't know where your tendrils is at. You don't do it to showboat, you just do it so they don't have any information. Alright, so we're going to stop there. Okay, so our opponent conceded. Easy game. Let's see what they have for game 3. I don't think I'm going to board in the Chain of Vapors. I just don't think we need to. If we get got by some sort of artifact, like, you kind of just tip your hat. But you don't want to dilute your deck, especially in a matchup where every resource is so valuable. So this is what we're going to do. Game 3. Well, we can goblins. Not in love with this hand, but we're going to try it. Our opponent's mulliganed to 4, so I think they're definitely looking for some sort of hate piece. They missed their land drop. So what I like to do in situations like this is just cast Burning Wish. We'll grab an empty. They've already burned a Brainstorm. And another Burning Rush. Okay. So what I actually want to do is I want to wait until their last card that they put back on Brainstorm is gone. Put back one Wish. And we'll put Petal on top for now. And I'm going to shuffle because an extra Petal doesn't really help us at this point in the game. So I'd rather just have a random card that could possibly be a discard spell, for example, right off the top. So if they Brainstorm again here, I think it's like a surefire example that they do have a Terminus. And there it was probably the top card of their deck. Force Snare. See if they Force Will this. We don't really lose anything by casting this Empty the Warrens. We've traded a Rite of Flame for 10 Goblins, and even if they do peel a Terminus off the top, it's fairly lucky. I guess we'll Duress now for an extra Goblin token. We'll take Terminus. Just in case they draw another Brainstorm, I guess. I feel a little bad for Marcus that he mulliganed to 4, but it looked like he was mulliganing to quick interaction. One of the reasons to play the Duress there was that it creates an extra storm count, so if he forces, it's still a 2-turn clock. And our goblins will kill him before his Ancestral Recall resolves. And we are now 3-0. Let's see if we can keep it going.